And mental health is so important. In fact, it is safe to say it is the powerhouse. When our minds are up and down or just all over the place, it affects our entire being. I am Uche, and this is Couch Session. Today, we're going to be delving deep, and I mean really, really deep, into mental health. Of course, we know that a lot of times our minds just run everywhere. But today, we're going to really look at what mental health is and how it just affects our everyday life. With me today, of course, as usual, is my very own Mrs. O.
Hi, everyone.
Miss O, welcome again. Should I even be saying welcome? Nope. You're part of it, or you should be saying welcome again.
Welcome, everyone.
Okay, so this is very, very dear to my heart, and I'm sure your heart as well, and the hearts of everybody. As long as you're on the face of this earth, you have a mental state, right? And it is very critical that at every point in time, we know exactly where our minds are. Because really, I know there's a popular saying, excuse me, but there's a popular saying that a lot of people are mad, but few are roaming. Trust me, even the people who are on the street, it started in one day. It started with something, probably a state of mind that they failed to recognize was affecting them, or something, was actually really, really, had eaten deep into their minds. So we just want to look at mental health today, Mrs. O. Mental health. What? Deep breath, right? What's your take? What's your take on mental health? Because really today we're going to share some experiences, right? We're going to be vulnerable, right? We're going to be open, like an open book, to share some experiences that have affected us negatively, of course. And so help us God. So Miss O, what's your take on mental health? Mental health. It's everywhere. I know it was World Mental Health Day on the 10th of October, but people don't really say so much about it. What's your take?
Thank you so much, Uche. Mental health is so critical that, like you said, nobody wants to talk about it. It's so sensitive.
Yeah, very sensitive.
I remember just thinking to myself, yes, with the World Mental Health Day, what exactly is mental health, And I realized that it is, I think that, and this is a dictionary meaning that social sciences and clinical sciences, where you take things like depression, your thought process, and the clinical science.
Depression.
Yes. And the fact that a lot of people are walking around with wounds, the mental health is that aspect of your health that can't be seen, but it's so true, I remember growing up, my dad is an orthopedic surgeon, and we lived in a hospital environment growing up. And I remember that, yes, there's a casualty, but then they had a department for trauma. Wow. And I used to think to myself, why trauma?
Why trauma?
What is it about trauma?
Exactly.
Then you realize that, trauma is like the effect, the side effect, what comes about from an accident, and you find out that when they are clerking you as a patient, they ask some random questions and they're just trying to find out. Most times we found out that people die not because of the physical
injury,
it is internal. You see this, internal bleeding. Why do we not think such happens with our health?
Wow.
So somebody says something very horrible to you, and you think you've brushed it up, but somewhere in your subconscious, the thing has taken root. And if you don't deal it, somebody else says something, it's just like a trigger.
A trigger, exactly.
And you just find that people are traumatized, So for me, I've said all sorts, and I might not have said a lot, but it's something that I think we need to be very, very aware of and remove that stigma surrounding it. So.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And like you said earlier, a lot of people don't talk about these things. Because again, in our world, right, especially in this generation, once you mention mental health, the first thing that comes to somebody's mind is kolo. like she has lost it. You know, so you see a lot of people suppressing a lot of things. Yeah. Even as educators, there are a lot of educators that are going through a whole lot. Absolutely. You know, but I don't want to be seen as that person who has issues. I don't want to be seen as that teacher who cannot keep up. And that's why you see most times you find out that school leaders have issues with some teachers. But then again, it takes emotional intelligence. That's another thing. It takes emotional intelligence to know when one teacher on your team is just not balanced, right? So rather than just sending queries out, sending memos to say you're not meeting up, find out, you know, because some people will not actually come to you to speak with you until you ask. And so that's another, that's the place of care. That's the place of concern, you know, for everybody on your team, you know, as a school leader, even as a class teacher, you have your colleagues or you have your, you know, it could even be a cleaner, you know, that is going through something. But I always say nobody is too big for mental issues. Nobody is too big for depression. You know the way you say depression knows no age, it knows no race, it knows no gender. It can just come on anyone like that. So you also said something that triggers, right? So how do you know that you are on that path? You know, because sometimes, like I said to my colleagues a few days ago, I said to them that sometimes you don't even know. And I'll give a practical example. Stress could also be, it could also affect your mental state. I'll give you a practical example. Several years ago, I worked in a school, and then I think I was pregnant, you know, with my second child. And I went to work like every normal day. I drove to work, actually. And then I'd closed work, say 2:30, 3 o'clock. And Miss, oh, you won't believe, I sat there, I was already boiling. You know that I've not been picked up. Are you getting the picture? I was already boiling that not been picked up. And then I called, I was like, I've not been picked up and it's almost 5 o'clock. And then he says to me, you drove to work. Did you get the picture now?
Yeah, you're supposed
you drove to work.
Take yourself home.
You know. But at that point, I realized, no, I'm done. I need to, my brain needs to calm down. I need to calm down. I need to, because the truth is, I would have driven to Gwagwalada before realizing that, okay, I need to go back. So sometimes you don't even know that you are on that path. It's not madness. It's not colo. It's just the fact that our minds are filled. So my question is, how do you then tell?
Okay, it's interesting. I'll take it from your comment before this question. And as educators, because I mean, this is a program for educators, for educators, and I'll be very practical. I sit in the position of a school leader. I have teachers, I have parents, I have students. One thing, before you can even talk about the mental health of anyone, even understand, you know, we have those quotients, intelligence quotient, emotional quotient, social quotient. Many times, people struggle with striking a balance with everything. True. And this trigger that you spoke about, particularly stress, there's something called adversity quotient. How do I respond to stress?
Please, sorry, can you say that again?
Adversity quotient.
Adversity quotient.
So, how do I respond to stress? How, and you see, it's so easy to see that play out in a classroom where a child who is supposedly the brilliant one is the one struggling and fighting with every child in the class, is the one that will break down and cry when he is unable to solve a problem or something happens. And sometimes you find out that with these children, if you go back home, somebody is saying something, you know, what is the, you know, when we say enabling environment, I don't take it lightly.
Exactly.
What is the environment around the house? Because people come in, they say the people that want to be loved the most are the ones that show you in the most unlovable way. That child that is always bickering in class, that child that is always getting into trouble is telling you something. But many times we're caught up with our own emotions. I move straight to your teachers, members of your staff. I was on my phone just before before coming here, I decided this year that let's even start off. It might be small, stuff of the month. As
True.
almost insignificant as that is, it boosts. I so the person for this month went for a spa pedicure, and she just kept on sending messages, and I was smiling. What you do not know behind that is she doesn't understand what that will do to her emotions.
Exactly.
What that will do to other people. And for myself, I and I'm going to share something here. There's no point in us sitting here and dancing around the question or using other people's experiences. I'm happy you've shared yours. I started off this year saying I wanted to become a better school leader. And I was going to stop being defensive. Now, being defensive is my auto response. Do you understand? And it comes from a place of mental health. Why am I being defensive? Is because I do not want anybody to tell me I've done anything wrong. And why do I not want anybody to tell me that I've done anything wrong? Trace it back to when I was probably a very small child, when people are poking and poking and poking as to the things that you're doing and you're not doing right. And you're not given an opportunity
so it always
to even
starts
speak.
From somewhere.
I was struck. Somebody was talking to me yesterday, and she said she's not surprised that she's an advocate, and she talks a lot because she grew up teaching herself to lie as a response to questions from her mom, because she was that inquisitive child. Some really went to the extremes. We just shut down and we don't talk.
Yes, exactly.
And then when you get to a position where you need to talk, you don't allow people to feed you because you think they're talking to you.
So it's like you've built that wall.
No, there's a wall. And I saw this quote that said, failure is not a person, it's an event.
Wow.
So I am, many people say, I failed at this, I'm a failure. I failed at doing something. I am not the failure. So so for me to have that conversation with my team, I said to them, look, I need to have a half term. I'm not waiting till the end of the term to have my appraisal with you. Half term. Come and tell me, how are we doing? There's no point in you sitting down in one lofty office and thinking everything is well. When members of your team are just looking at you. Oh, if only she knows. So I had, because I'm a work in progress, and I understand that as much as I appreciate feedback, not all feedback will be taken, because sometimes feedback comes from somebody's own interpretation of who I am.
You are.
Not necessarily. You can give it, I don't have to take it. But somebody on my team told me that. I asked, and I said, how can I be a better leader to you? How can I help you grow? She smiled. She said, you need to learn to take feedback. If it was me
before
of 2 years ago, shut down. But I smiled.
And it starts to affect your mental state.
And I heard it. And I said to her that and I didn't lie, I'm a work in progress, and I know that. My non-verbal communication will put you off when you're telling me. And it's the truth. Feedback hurts, but it's necessary.
It's necessary.
So I promise, I'm committed to hearing you say it. I am not committed to telling you that I will take it all the time, because yes, it's your feedback. It might not be what we need, but I will not shut you down from telling me this is what you think. So I'm going back. I've shared now that I was able to pick my triggers to say, okay, I'm not doing well with feedback because I think somebody is attacking my personality, as against taking myself out of that equation and saying, it is something that I'm doing. Can we sit back? And it's the same thing with other relationships, you know?
True.
And I remember my son will tell me, Mommy, I really don't care what you put on your face. You need to hear this. No. But I've created that enabling environment such that they can tell me, you know, and yes, you're going to tell me those things. It's going to hurt. We're probably both going to cry, both to shout, but I've heard it. So,
So I hear you, right? And I'm just thinking for everybody who is probably thinking what I'm thinking now. It was easy because you actually knew that you needed to change something, and you spoke to yourself about it. That's different. So you sat down and you went through a process of saying,
talking to myself about that. I didn't share.
I know. So now my question is because it's an educator's platform basically. So for educators who cannot speak, right? Who can't find anybody to speak to, and that brings me to the place of support system. Right? Support system. So for those of you listening, you need a support system. You really cannot do without it, because the world alone, Nigeria alone, is in a place of a lot of things, right? If you just sit on your own and some people say I Netflix and chill, you would get tired of Netflixing and chilling.
The Netflix will be
the Netflix will now be Netflixing you, but you need support system, right?
Net.
Yeah, you need that network of people who, of course, like I said to my colleagues as well, it's not someone who you would share your challenges with and then it's heard in the marketplace, right? So that's another thing. That's another thing that affects people's mental state, trust. Do you understand? Trust can be, because I'm sitting down telling you this is what I'm going through. This is, like some people's mental challenge could be money. Do you understand? It could be finances. I can't solve these problems now. I can't afford to do this now. My children need to go to school and I'm a teacher. How much is my salary? You know, I got talking with a teacher about mental health, because really mental health has just been coming up, you know, frequently. And she said to me, my own mental health now, my own mental state is my salary. You know, if my salary is increased, I will be happy. You know, my mental state will be. And it just boils down to the fact that people have different challenges, right? So what is your take? How do you find that support system? That's the question.
Okay. For lack of a better way of coming across as religious, you need to be able to discern these things. So that's the place of emotional intelligence. Who is this person? You see, if I know who I am, after talking with you for some time, I'll know if our values align. And I will be vulnerable here and share. We're friends and we belong to a friend group.
Yeah.
The truth about it is that as much as we're in a friend group, Uche can't tell me anything and I'm going to go and tell any other person. It's left for her to tell.
Yeah,
and then when she does come out to share with everybody, I'm there, woo,
you know,
clapping. But I have been able to establish, and I'll keep going back and forth, because I give what I want to receive. I would give you my time.
Yeah, I know,
I would give you my trust.
Yeah, you always say that.
And for people, people should, as much as I hear you wanting a support system, many of us are afraid to be on our own. Many people don't like them. You don't like spending time with themselves. Have you spent time? Do you like you? If you don't like you, nobody's going to like you.
True.
Do you understand?
Yeah, that's a very valid point.
I need to like myself. And so that's why I was telling you, I'm redefining me, you know. But then in finding those people, my values align. Do you understand? You can't be in your house 24/7 and expect to have a friend. You will not. He who wants to have a friend must himself be friendly.
But so what of the introverts? Are you saying introverts don't need support system?
I have a friend who is an introvert and we love ourselves dearly. But we probably see ourselves maybe once in 6, maybe once in... We've even tried now that we'll be seeing ourselves once a month. But I'm okay when I don't hear from them. I'll just chat and say, hello there. Or I'll just look for a meme that says, introverts have friends. They just also like their space. But I learned to understand you. I appreciate you for who you are. I'm not interested in changing you. I'm okay. I'm going to call you out if I think you're messing up. But
that's important.
I'm going to call. But the reason why people struggle with finding friends is that place of trust. Do you understand? And that thing of, can I really trust you? You know, there's that inner thing that lets you know this information. You had better not. But in as much as I hear the part of support system with mental health, there's the place for seeking help that a friend cannot give you. Because I can talk to you from now to, I would only tell you what I know.
What you know.
Some people, it's a profession for them. They know how to decipher. That's why when somebody has an accident, you just don't go to your house and receive treatment. You go to the hospital. So why shouldn't you be able to discern in the middle here? I'm really not understanding what this is.
I need
an
professional
accountability partner that I can speak with. That accountability, and you see, many times when people are looking for friends, they're looking for people who pat them on the back and tell them that
and rub their ego.
I'm going to tell you the truth, but
tell them what they want to hear
in love. True. I do that because I want people to do it for me as well. And I keep telling them, I'm a work in progress. My face betrays me a lot. It would tell me that I hate you for what you are saying, but I don't. I appreciate it. But there's no hard or fast rule for finding those friends, but you need to be friendly. You need to be able to discern. Do you understand? You need to also, you know that thing of, I'm telling you something, you're telling me something. I'm not opening up and telling another person that, oh, this is Uche. I recently got information that was very, very unsettling for me recently. And in talking to the person who gave me, I said, I'm only talking to you about it because I know I'm going to pick up the phone and speak with this person. I cannot imagine us sitting together and discussing this. It just, so I do not know
it's heartbreaking, really.
If I have given, there are no 10 steps to being a perfect friend.
To being a perfect friend. Or 10 steps to finding a support system. Yeah, I know that's a lot.
Be comfortable with yourself. Understand your values, your value system.
Yeah, know what you stand for.
Exactly.
Very important.
And you see, one thing we don't realize is that the growing phase of any person, that's when most deep relationships are formed. Go and check it. And I wish people had told me when I was growing up to be more careful and conscious of the people who come into their relationships. I regret losing now because I didn't manage them well. Many people that will be fantastic friends for me now from secondary school, somewhere I had my head in the cloud and I didn't even know myself. Let's be honest. So I would have just been, I'll just have been problem for that person. But in getting to know myself now, I understand the things. I'm okay just having a company of 2 or 3.
Yeah, that are true.
True.
Okay, so we're going to be shaking just 1 or 2 tables, I promise. But don't move a muscle. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Just before the short break, I said we're going to shake 1 or 2 tables.
I'm shaking.
Social media. The role of social media. Social. Someone said yesterday, social medium. Oh my goodness. But the place of social media in mental health. Now, a friend of mine said to me, everybody wants to be heard. As long as you have an Instagram handle, you have a Facebook account, you have a Twitter handle, I need to put what I'm thinking. Whether it affects or it doesn't affect. And I tell people social media is not for the faint-hearted. That's the truth. It's not for the faint-hearted because you open Instagram and you're reading something. It could be Insta, what's that thing they say? Like fake life, kind of. And you are already telling yourself, is this person not my mate? What is so different? God when? God when syndrome. You know, so what is the effect of social media on mental health?
See, for me, let's first of all understand what social media is there for. It's for information.
It's for information, yes. But you would agree with me, Miss O, that just very few people now are actually giving us the information we want on social media, right? Some other people are on social media to spite other people. Do you understand? Some other people are on social media. My marriage is not working. Your own shouldn't work. Do you understand? So they now give you, their own what's that word? Interpretation of what a perfect marriage should look like. And then
their own production.
You now see a lot of people's marriages having issues because one motivational speaker has said his own. So really, what is social media doing to our generation? What is it doing to our mental state, our mental health?
You see, Uche, we can't really be generic about it because the truth is social media is helping some people.
Of course it is.
And if you know why you are on social media, see, your value system, prioritizing. When I go on social media, see, I like the free will aspect of social. Nobody imposes anything on you. You can choose to follow.
Exactly, true.
You can choose where to go. If I am opening it, I need to see.
But there are temptations.
You've got to have self-control.
True, I agree. Self-control.
So and some people put they go on social media breaks. They go on.
Yeah, I've
they
done
take
that.
themselves. They know who. I'm conscious of who, because see, there is a subconscious aspect of your mind. You will not even haven't you noticed that maybe the last song you listen to is what you'll be singing in your dream, or you wake up singing it? So why am I not protecting my space?
Your space.
It is critical that I know. And see, we're scared of asking questions. So when I see your post, Uche, I see that you're really balling and you're having a good time. And then I'm suddenly feeling very bad. I'm going to have to pause and tell myself, please, why? Do you understand? Ask myself that question.
But like you said, you need to know who you are.
Many of us don't know.
Many of us don't know.
We're not willing to.
Many of us don't know. And so that's why you see someone's post and you're already thinking, God, when? You're already no, I don't want to use the word upset, but you're already feeling bad that someone... You're jealous. Okay, that's the word.
I don't even
You're jealous,
of somebody's progress. And
yes.
you see that there's something called, there's this iceberg illusion, where what you see as success is the highest point of that iceberg. What you don't see under are the person's disappointments, late nights, rejections. So when I don't know your story, I have no right to judge you. So if I'm really feeling bad, somebody once said that if you're feeling bad about someone's progress, you're a witch from the village. And I laughed, honestly, because we're human. We define success as different things. If what I see is success is you in your gated estate, your children in international schools, you having multiple passports, then if I see that you are putting all those things up, I begin to tell myself, if I don't have it, that there's a mistake. This journey that I'm running, I'm on a treadmill.
True.
But if I can sit back and say, you see, we don't plan. This is who I am. If that is truly the kind of life that I want to have, what have I put in place to get there? You know, and you know that thing, and we were talking about it on our group, that, see, look back at your year.
And reflect. Exactly.
Where are you?
Where are
Many
you?
times we are the architect of our own
Many times we don't actually look back at where we're coming from.
You don't follow through. You don't put a plan in
so
place.
We're already disappointed by what we see now.
You want to
forgetting where we're coming from.
Yes, Uche, you want to build an estate. And you've told yourself January 1st, 2022, that by December 31st, 2022, you'll be opening up that estate. C of O, you don't have land, you don't have cement, you don't have nothing.
Is wishful thinking.
Very wishful. You know,
if wishes were horses,
everybody will be just riding that horse.
All the horses in this world would have died.
And the mental social media has a place. It is so people, and it's that thing of feedback. People are telling you something. It is my choice to receive it. And if I see that I'm suddenly getting very agitated, I'm snappy, I'm talking down at myself, I'm shaming myself, I put a pause there. Do you understand? And I ask, what's happening? Okay, this is it. Okay, this is what it is. Go back. You see, our parents did their best, but the truth is, many of us were not raised to ask questions.
Yeah.
Just before you go, I saw somebody post. I think his name is Leke Alder. He put thought-provoking posts up today. He said many, and this is faith-based, and I will just put it out there. He said many people are scared of asking God questions because you think it will make you less than a Christian, because there are questions, there are things happening. Why are you so scared to ask? Come on, reason. Ask those things.
Just like you said, a lot of us were not, didn't grow up.
Children are seen.
Not heard. You know, so you can't even ask then. A lot of us grew up without even being able to ask a question like, Mommy, why is this? But now the children of these days will ask you. Just like our executive producer was telling you were saying something.
Yes, I was telling you how
you should put
how this should be here. But you know what I just
By the way, he's 6, the executive producer.
So shout out executive producer. But you see, the reason why many of us are struggling now is we suddenly realize we have a voice and we can't speak. But we don't realize that we need to put a filter in there.
Exactly, that's the word.
Young ones
that's the word.
They're audacious.
Filter.
They are doing things that we're saying, perhaps I can try this. But you have to filter.
That's the word, filter. I was going to actually say that we need to filter what we hear, what we see, right? So you can't just sit and affect your own mental health yourself, because most times that's what we do. So just like Miss O said, you go on social media and the next thing you're doing, rather than seeing someone's success, you're already wishing you're like that person. She gave a perfect example of the iceberg illusion, right? You don't see what is underneath.
No.
You just see the surface. And so you see someone has bought a new car, or as educators, you see a friend of yours who you probably started with some years ago is now heading a school, and you're still a class teacher. Or you get into conversations with your mates, your teacher friends, and you hear that their salaries are off the roof, and then you're thinking, but we all started together. Why is her salary this and mine is this? No, you don't know what is underneath that iceberg. It's just what... Now, social media makes you see what you want to see.
Yes.
Just like Ms. O said. It's what you want to see.
Just take pictures now, Uche, and we use filters.
Exactly.
For Instagram.
Exactly.
And we filtered up everything.
So, this episode really is just to let you know that you are in total control of your mental state.
Absolutely.
You are in total control of what your mind is at every point in time. You can say to yourself, I will not let this affect me. Now, I think is lazy. I don't want to sound insensitive, but I think if you work on yourself, you cannot be intimidated.
That's that thing of
you can't be affected, because self-assessment. Do you understand? You need to be able to assess yourself and tell yourself, I remember last 2 episodes we talked about imposter syndrome. It's part of it, right? So you are in charge of your mental state. You're in charge of your mental well-being at every point in time. So just before we go, I wrote down some things.
Can I just quickly explain something? And I'm a very visual learner. So things, I have to be able to paint a picture. And I'm going back to that filter. Remember when we were growing up, did you ever have that water filter? That thing?
Oh, yes.
But guess what? Social media is like that. And our parents will boil water in that big pot. And then pour.
Exactly.
Social media is like that big pot that has all the content. Your mind is that filter.
Is that filter. So it will just pour into it.
You can, it must see. So no, I can't take responsibility for how you think, how you take my post.
Wow.
Filter it, and take what you want. And if it really isn't working for you, kindly shut me out. Kindly unfollow me.
Yeah, block me.
Block me, and be very okay. You know, there's also there's a block it, delete it, everything. Just do it.
Okay, so just before we go, I wrote some things down, just signs and symptoms of mental health problems. Like there's some signs that you just know, I need to step back and really take a look at what's happening to me. So when you're constantly feeling sad and down, constantly, like nothing excites you anymore, you actually really need to sit down and think, what is happening with my mind? Then difficulty concentrating. You can't concentrate on something. You're easily distracted. That's another sign. Then excessive feeling of guilt. You know, there's some people who just, shaming. Some people just feel guilty at every point in time. Everything going wrong in another person's life, they just feel it's their fault. It's because of something I didn't do. It's because of something I didn't say. So you need to actually speak with someone. Low energy, no motivation. You're just there, you know, like anyhow they say we should go. That's how we'll go. Is this how we should go? Exactly. So also sleeping and eating problems. So for some of you that think that it's just insomnia, you know, I just can't sleep, I prefer to stay up all night. It could actually be a mental health challenge that you really, really need to pay close attention to. Then excessive fear and worry.
Panic.
I think I'm in that WhatsApp group, Sha.
Will be okay.
I think I'm in that WhatsApp group. Fear and worry, every single thing. Now, there are a lot of things you don't have control over, right? You need to be able to know those things you can't control and help yourself to know, okay, I can't control this. Why do I need to get into a depressed state? Because I can't. Now, withdrawal. Now, this is the point where family, friends need to know that there's something wrong. When someone begins to withdraw from things that excite them or from family groups. They don't just find any reason to go for that hangout or that birthday or to do a video call. You know, when you even find yourself in that state, you know that, okay, I need to step back and look at my mental state. Confused thinking. You can't make a decision. You're neither here nor there. You know, even the Bible said that if you're neither hot nor cold, it will spew you out. So that's to say that you can't be lukewarm when you're confused. I don't know if I'm here. I don't know if I'm there. It could also be a sign of mental health challenge. And then significant tiredness. You're just always tired. It could be that you're mentally drained. Like you said, you can tell that you're physically drained, like you're tired. But when your mental state, like when your mental well-being is drained, trust me, like I said earlier, it's the powerhouse. Everything about you is just low. Yeah, so those are some of the signs that you should look out for to know exactly where you are mentally.
Can I just share something? You know, you had mentioned that thing of people who withdraw, and I'll go back to, let's also be careful when we ask people, how are you?
How are you?
Be
it has actually become a cliche. Exactly.
And people have auto responses.
I'm fine,
so
thank you.
If you, that's why I really can't deal a lot of friends, because I give my all to it. Yeah, responding, auto response, I'm fine. Oh, thank God, glory be to God. I'm just smiling and looking at you, because I'm going to be asking you, what exactly? That's an auto response. You put up a wall. What is it? People are scared of you, but I'll tell you, not only will I jump on that wall, I will come into your space and we need to. Let's wear that same trouser, you know. Many times people want you to fight for them. People don't even know how
want
to
you to
ask
go
for.
beyond. Exactly. People don't know.
People have been hurt, you know. They don't know how to trust. And what is fear? It's really false evidences appearing real. So they are evidences, but they are false and they look real. So you need someone, and I know that's the place of affirmations. Who am I?
Who am I?
If there's nothing we take out of this thing, and I'm saying it, I'm going back again. Let's be intentional when we are complimenting people or when we are asking about after their well-being. How are you? How are you? And I'm not saying, I'm picking up the phone. How are you? Would you like to talk? When can we talk? Even if the person pushes it, the person knows somewhere at the back of their mind.
Because I was going to say that some people will push you and say, I'm fine. They just keep saying, I'm fine.
And you know, you can move beyond that to say, hi, everything might not be okay, but I am here. You can talk. Access. When people know they have access. You see, because so much is happening, we need to empathize with people. People are carrying all sorts. I just read on the news that a lady, did you see that? I think her boyfriend proposed to her like 4 months ago. She was this week on Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos, got down from her Uber and jumped off Third Mainland. Has a good job. Nobody can explain anything.
So really, it's not about what you have. Right? We'll just close with that. It's not about what you have. Like I said, it's where just like Miss O mentioned, is where your mind is. Who are you? You need to know who you are. You need to know who you are at every point in time. And please, we cannot overemphasize the importance of speaking with someone. A lot is going on. You would have, like Miss O said, push. You have that friend who you've noticed has withdrawn, who you've noticed doesn't call or doesn't chat as often as he or she used to. Push. A lot of people don't want to be seen as weak, so they might not really tell you what is going on. But it is our place to actually push and insist on finding out how they're doing. And we want you to know that you are not alone in this. The best of us have our minds up and down the place once or twice. I read today that someone said the normal days in a woman's life in a month is like just 4 to 5 days. In 31 days or 30 days, a woman has just 4 to 5 normal days. So that's to tell you that for women, our minds or our bodies are just all over the place. And that could be very frustrating for a lot of people. But please speak to someone. Find someone who you can confide in. Find a support system. Remember, don't just pick anybody. Discern and pray about it, of course. And know your values. Know who you are. And you'll be able to find the perfect match for you. Just make sure that your mind is at peace and at rest at every point in time. Miss O, any parting words just before we go?
Parting words from me. Can we just give it up for Uche for deciding to go on this topic that nobody wants to talk about?
It was. I said to Miss O, I said it is a very heart-wrenching, pulling. It's something that you really need to make up your mind that you want to do and ask God to help, because it's something that we knew that we will be touching a lot of places, saying a lot of things that people are usually not comfortable with. So we thank God that we were able to dissect in our own little way. We're not saying we know everything, but
professionals.
And thank you so much, Miss O, once again for always just being there. Thank you.
Anything for you.
So it has been an amazing time here, and I'm pretty sure that we've learned a lot. Don't forget to follow all our social media handles. Uchi1 on Instagram, Miss O on Instagram, and of course on YouTube, Uche Okoro. Like, subscribe, what's that? Ring the bell, right? Click on the bell to get notifications. Till we see you again, have an amazing time. Bye.
Bye.